All right, so one way we can do that is a 5x5 prayer chart. So this is to kickstart your, is anyone in here in a small group or planning to lead a small group? That'll kind of help me know who might be. So we have kind of half and half, 50-50. So this applies, you can use this tool. You can use this tool no matter, yeah, if you have an extra. Thanks. Awesome. Thanks. This is just such a great little tool. I love the simplicity. If you're like, I am a person who cannot be consistent, this is consistent. So I want you to spend a few minutes just thinking of 5 people that come to mind. These could be people that you want to invite to a small group, or it could be just someone on your heart. They're on your heart for a reason. You don't have to know why. They're just on your heart. This is a great way to know who to invite, but also just explore. Oh, they keep coming up. I keep thinking about them or bumping into them. That's the second time this month. Maybe they need to be listed, but limit yourself to 5. And so like these names are going to change over time, but I like to give a person at least a week on my list before I'm booting them off or feeling, because I can be impulsive. I'm like, oh, this other person. Like, wait, have I spent that time on the other person who is here? Am I just like moving on? You may not have that tendency, but I kind of do. And your challenge, your invitation, I want to look at this not as a challenge, but like, I love how Father Vogel is scientific. Prove to yourself or disprove. Like, make a hypothesis. I bet praying 5 minutes a day, total. This isn't 5 minutes for each person. 5 minutes total. You might spend 5 minutes on one person. You might spend 1 minute on each person. Just depends what you feel like that day. 5 minutes, set a timer and stop. And just see, does anything change? Has anything happened? In a week? In a month? How long does it take? I find it does. And I find that it changes me often more than them, or at the same time. That they start popping up more, that they start sharing stuff with me, that something happened. And then I can just thank God, but it's 5 minutes. And so putting that trust in 5 minutes, it doesn't have to be a huge effort, but you're kind of prepping your heart and prepping theirs. And so here's some tips. Use the name of Jesus, use the person's name. I love this saying, J. Wade. It is, Father Scott Traynor has said, we shouldn't be saying, what would Jesus do? We should say, Jesus, what are you doing? He didn't just do things at one time. Jesus, what are you doing, J. Wade? And how can I help? Jesus, what are you doing and how can I help? So then you're thinking of that person. So what that might look like for me is I have someone on my list and I wanted to invite her to this women's gathering, but I knew she's very shy. I knew that she was very shy. I knew that she was not going to say yes, most likely. But I kept her on my list, and I kept praying for her. And this is even before I had the retreat. She's just been on my mind. I don't know why she's on my mind, Lord. And I was asking for courage for her and courage for myself. And then I invited her, and she said, thank you. She got back to me. I'm not going to be able to come, but God bless, and maybe another time. Oh, the door is open now. She didn't just shut me down. And I had this realization that it's not about me thrusting myself onto her. I was like, I just really want to connect with her. That's not how she wants to connect. Let her let me know when she wants to connect. Or there's an opportunity that I say something and she's like, oh, maybe she's safe. Maybe she's trusting. Maybe I can trust her. And just realizing that, like, I just have to let go of this desperation to, she needs this community, she needs this, and my own ideas, and say, like, Jesus, what are you doing in her life? I bet she's feeling, fill in the blank, thinking from her perspective. Think about that person and what they might be, and talk to Jesus about. If I were to pray for Kim, she's made it on my list a few times. And like, Kim's probably exhausted right now. Give her some rest. Give her some peace. Let her know that it's enough, that she's enough. Let the people around her appreciate her. Let them see what she's doing. And if you want me to do something, let me know. And sometimes I feel tempted in my prayer to reach out and text somebody. Some people get early morning texts. But trying to like resist that impulse till I'm done. One way you can add this, think about a habit, is like, how can I add this to my life? If you do an examine, I like to do what I'm sorry for, what I'm grateful for, who I'm praying for. And then I can just, boom, get this in. You could add it to the end of the day, to the beginning of the day. I often forget to do my examine at the end of the day, so then I tack this on in the morning, right away in the morning. That I feel like anybody can do 5 minutes if you can stick it to something that you're already doing. And then you could have these thoughts like, but what about my family members and all these other people I need to pray for? Because you can want to add on. So I added a +4. And all that is like I release the praying in, and I add a family member, a priest, a couple, and somebody who's passed away that I care about, or a soul in purgatory. And I just offer my prayers, work, sacrifices for them that day. And I say, that is enough. I'm offering what I do today for this person, and I'm going to let it go. Because you can every day be like, oh, I need to pray for my children. But they're not on my list right now. They might be later. So that's where I added, like, I had somebody ask for prayers. Okay, well, they're not going to make it on my list yet, but I can still add their intentions. So to give you a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Reassurance. You're not leaving people out. It's okay. It's okay to let go of all the people to pray for. And you could have a master list in the back, but keep with those 5. And the method of Jesus is small. Everything about him is small. He came into the world small. The tiny steps are small that you'll make. And just being aware, I have one of these sheets if anybody needs one or wants one. But people are at different levels of conversion, and how can you move them the tiniest step toward it? And maybe they go backwards, and maybe they go forwards. But seeing where they're at and how you can move them forward. This might also be somebody that's in your small group, not that's already there, but you notice something. You go, oh, I want to call them to more. I think they can co-lead with me. Or they're really struggling. Where might I be called to help? And maybe I'm not. So what Kim and I are going to do, speaking of co-leaders, if you're in a group or you have a friend or you have somebody else who you're comfortable with, you can do this. You don't have to be in a group, but you can pray for somebody else, especially when someone has said, I could use some prayers, or you just know like, hey, we're going to be doing something together and we want to pray for this person. It's so powerful to do it together and to get comfortable with that, because it can feel really hard. So interceding for others. So I'm going to give an example of that right now, what it looks like, because it's kind of a conversation back and forth.